Potatoes I harvested from my garden yesterday. Eggs I collected from my chicken coop this morning. I'm gonna show you how I cooked up this fabulous breakfast. Let's get started. I'm Becky. I used to live in the consumer rat race just like you. But one day I had enough, so I sold it all, moved to the country, and built my own log cabin with my own two hands. Now I spend my time discovering new ways to live a simple, healthy lifestyle with more free time and way less stress. Then sharing what I've learned with you. Welcome to Becky's Homestead. Today, I'm going to show you how I cook these potatoes in my cast iron skillet and also the eggs to make this fabulous family breakfast. These are some red potatoes I harvested from my garden, the first potatoes of the season, and I can't wait to see how they turn out. This technique I'm going to show you is a dynamite technique, and they come out so good. Before I get started, the first thing I do is I turn the heat on 3. You know, you might get going and then be like, oh, let me turn the pan on. You need the pan on first. The entire pan has to be hot, not just the bottom. That is the advantage of using cast iron, is the whole pan gets hot and helps cook the food. It's not just the bottom. I personally like a 50-50 mixture of butter and olive oil when I make my potatoes. It comes out fabulous, but you can use whatever fat or oil you want to use. But this comes out really good. Another thing I do is I like to chop the potatoes on a paper plate just because it's easier to slide them over into the pan. I like to chop the pieces to where just you can stab one piece with a fork and that's one bite. So I don't like to chop them too big or too small. And I like them kind of a chunky shape, and I'll show you this. They get a little smaller when you cook them. That's kind of a big bite, but I mean, it's better a little bigger than too small. So I just start chopping these, and I just do this kind of quick. They smell so good, believe it or not. These potatoes smell good, raw. And you just chop, chop, chop. Keep going, chop, chop. I use 3 tablespoons of butter. So I'm gonna put this in. And while that's sizzling, I like to pour the olive oil in. So it's kind of the same amount about, and it smells so good. That olive oil and butter mixed together, to me, smells fabulous. And the next step is I'm gonna drop these potatoes in there. That's why I like the paper plate. Growing these potatoes were so easy, like really kind of spontaneous, because we had bought a bag of red potatoes and then they were getting some buds on them. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to get rid of them or give them to the chickens or anything. I'm like, I'm going to plant them. So how I planted them is I had a planter full of dirt that was about that deep. And you know, I said, I'm just going to do it the easiest way possible. So I got the hoe and I turned it upside down. With the handle, I just poked a hole all the way down to the bottom. And then the potatoes were about this big. I didn't cut them or anything. I just like shoved them into the hole, and then I took the hoe handle and I kind of like pushed them all the way down to the bottom, and I just left them be. And this is what I got, which made me so happy that it was that easy to grow the potatoes. And these potatoes, I don't know why, they look better than the original bag that we bought. Okay, I'm gonna dump these in. And I harvested these potatoes yesterday, and I'm cooking them up this morning. So I don't think you can get any fresher than that. And as you can see, this pan gets pretty full. Although it will, when I stir it, it's gonna go down a little. Okay, next are these fresh serrano peppers, and I absolutely love peppers in my potatoes. But if you don't like it, it doesn't make it hot at all. It makes it savory, especially with the butter and the olive oil. It makes it really, really good. But just make sure you don't touch your eyes after you cut these peppers, because you'll be in pain. The easiest way to de-seed the pepper is with a spoon, and I'm gonna show you that. I have to get a little spoon. Oh my God, that scared me. Okay, just leave that there. Okay, the easiest way to do it, although you do get the pepper oil on your fingers, so definitely don't touch your eyes with it, is to use the spoon and you just drag it along there and kind of rip the little innards out, because I don't like the seeds. And then what I do is I just put them together like 2 at a time. This is the sound you want to hear. You don't want it hotter, like more snappy boiling. There's no snapping and popping, but it's kind of just sizzling under there. You never ever use wet potatoes when you're making these fried potatoes in the cast iron skillet. No moisture. Look how dry the potatoes are. They were not wet at all. All right, next I'm going to put all the spices I like before I stir it up. So the first thing I like is pepper. And I put quite a bit, but not, you know, I don't overdo it, but I like quite a bit of pepper. Okay, it's a lot of potatoes in this pan, so that's why it might look like quite a bit of pepper, but it's not. The next thing I put in are parsley flakes. I really like parsley in a lot of things that I cook. So I put quite a bit of parsley. It makes those little green bits and pieces because the parsley absorbs the oil and butter and it kind of expands, it rehydrates, and it's really good in the potatoes. Next is paprika. I love paprika. I don't know why. So I'm going to put a little bit of paprika in there. You know, you put the spices you like. You don't have to use the same spices I use. You put what you like. And I love cayenne pepper too. But you have to go easy on the cayenne pepper, but it does add a very nice, you know, flavor and a little savoriness to everything you cook. And I'm going to put a little bit of basil in there. I'm not a huge fan of basil, so I go very light on the basil, but it does add a nice flavor. Now the next thing I'm going to do, the whole purpose of me stirring these potatoes is only to get them all coated with the oil. So it takes a minute because my pan is so full, and I usually spill them out of the pan every time I make them. The next step, which is a very important step, is you have to cover them. And you just let them cook, and after that, it takes quite a while to cook them like this because you're cooking them slow. But believe it or not, they will eventually, they'll cook through so they're tender, and then they'll start to brown. So they'll be crunchy on the outside and very tender on the inside, and they're just the best potatoes ever. I'm gonna stir these potatoes every 10 to 15 minutes now until they're cooked, and I'll show you what it looks like every time I stir them. We can't have fried potatoes without the farm fresh eggs. Let's go out to the coop and get them while these are cooking. A quick trip to Chicken Town. Let's go. I have to kick these 3 off. They're all broody. Okay, I'm sorry, Missy ma'am. She likes this. Look at her, she's all poofed out. Excuse me, these aren't yours. I need them. Get out. There's only 1 in there. Go. Okay, let's kick out number 2. They're trying to hatch them out and they're broody when they're poofed out like that. That's the hatching stance. That isn't the laying an egg position. Okay, excuse me. I know, I'm sorry. And they try to hold them with their legs. Get out there. Okay, there's a few in here. Look how clean and shiny and perfect these eggs are. That proves your hens are healthy and there's no worms. No poop on the eggs. They're absolutely perfect. Oh, Goldie. Out you go. Oh, she truly was laying. Was that hers? Here, we'll leave her in there. Sorry. She's like, I wasn't done. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Time for the first stir. And it's not going to be brown yet, because like I said, when you do it this way, somehow it cooks them through first and then it browns it after. It's kind of hard to stir it, but once it starts to brown, I make more of an effort to flip it so it, you know, more potatoes can brown. But in the beginning, I just want to move them a little. So you can't rush this. It just takes time. Then I just put the lid back on and wait some more. This is stir number 3. We didn't film stir number 2. It gets a little boring if you watch every single one. What I want to show, and the reason we're cooking it the way we are, is because we want the potatoes tender before they get crispy. And I'm going to show you when I scoop them now, you can see that they're starting to get crunchy on the bottom. Okay, we're going to get started on the eggs now in my nice little cast iron skillet. Again, I warm up my skillet on like number 3. I like to cook my eggs on lower heat and it takes a little longer, but the eggs turn out so good and perfect. All right, I have the 2 eggs going. The potatoes are almost done, so I'm gonna stir these a little more often now because once they are all soft, they do brown faster. They are gonna be delicious. Alrighty, I'm gonna turn the heat off on these potatoes. It's ready. Let me put it on the plate. Put them right here next to the potatoes. It's all ready. This is some good family food. I hope you enjoyed as much as we do. Dig in.
Sign up for Becky's Homestead newsletter. Go to beckysHomestead.com and sign up on the right. You'll get articles, news, and specials from Becky every month. Unsubscribe anytime, no spam.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, please email me and Doodles. Happy homesteading. Bye-bye. I made such a big pot, and after I've served everybody, there's this many left. And you might be wondering how the best way to reheat this would be for the next meal or the next day. I leave the potatoes right in the cast iron skillet, and what I would do is preheat the oven to like 300, and then I would put the lid on the pan and I would just pop it in the oven until it was warm. And I would just keep checking, you know, take a potato and eat it, and when it's all warmed through, then you can just serve it the next day.